Do you think the universe, someone created the universe, or did it come into existence by itself?
I don't know. It's one of them, isn't it? If someone created the universe, then there must be a God.
Yeah, you too, just then. Is it okay if I plug a mic on you, because I'm running out of space, and you need one anyway? Yeah, just plug.
So if someone made the universe, then there would probably have to be a God, right?
No, before we even indulge into that, what about the universe itself? Where did it come from? So as an agnostic, if somebody asked you that question, how would you respond?
I mean, as an agnostic, I respond, well, there's lots of theories from different people, whether it's science theory, a Big Bang theory, or whether it's God made it. For me, I don't know.
You looked into Big Bang?
No. I don't admit to anything, so I don't know.
Anyway, what we know is that the universe, based on most scientists, they believe that the universe has an age of something like just under 14 billion years. Yes? That means that it had a beginning. Yes? We also know that the universe is expanding.
Who said it's 14 billion years, and how do they know that?
Oh, I think they know by the radiation and so on. So, you know, by radiation they can tell the age of certain things.
I'm not a big history believer.
Well, this is science.
This is science,
Yes.
which science history, right?
Well, yeah. So I'm not a scientist
I know science
either, but
say today, but
there are certain basic things which I do know. I mean, I tend to make mistakes, and I hope people correct me if I make mistakes.
it's like on the TV, yeah? If you look at an expert scientist, where I assume these people are saying this, and that we automatically assume the scientist knows, but we realise later on that obviously scientists quite often get a shitload wrong, or they're just lying.
No, you're absolutely right.
For
But the scientists themselves say that what they say is not written in stone.
No.
So this theory is a theory of the Big Bang, a theory of evolution. So these are all hypotheses, which then go through peer reviews and so on. And then we have several models of the universe, not just the Big Bang theory, by the way. They have maybe 7 or 8 other models or something. And they say that maybe this Big Bang theory is one of the most acceptable. They don't say it's never going to change. They don't say it's set in stone. Okay? But they say from all the other models out there, and from the research that we have done, we believe this to be the strongest model to our knowledge so far. Okay? So they will tell you that the universe began to exist at some point, and it's expanding at present. Yes? And they can tell that by the stars moving, distancing away from each other as time goes by. So they have all these observations by which they postulate these different theories.
So science believe it goes infinite. They believe in infinity, don't they? Science.
No, infinity is a concept. So they use these terms infinity in mathematics just for ease of modulation
to understand.
Yes, it's to make certain formulas and models much more meaningful. So instead of them saying that, oh, it is eternal, which is more of a theological terminology, they say infinity. Infinity means they don't know what's the last number. So if I ask you what is the last number, what is the greatest number, you'll say, well, numbers are infinite. Yes, because numbers are abstract. Yes,
numbers will always carry on.
Yeah.
They'll always be another number.
So the largest number and the smallest number both are infinite. Yes, whether you go this direction or this direction with a zero in the middle, you'll know that this is something which is infinite. For us to better understand this in a language, we use the term infinite so that we can all be on the same page. So it's for ease of understanding. So now going back to our question, what created God? I told you God by definition. You see, in order for the universe to exist, it needs a creator. It needs someone to bring it into existence. So in the Quran, Allah says about human beings that Allah asks us a hypothetical question. Who created you? Yes? Did you create yourself? Yes? Or were you created from nothing? Or did Allah create you? That means did someone create you? So now when I ask you, did you create yourself? Obviously you say no. If I told you did, you come from nothing again, you'll say no. Nothing cannot give rise to something in any logical, scientific method of understanding. Yes? Because nothing means the absence of everything. Nothing doesn't even exist. If something doesn't exist, how can it bring into existence something that doesn't exist? So our reality exists. Yes? Now this reality, for example, your consciousness is something which is like you cannot observe it under a microscope. Your consciousness. alive. You are able to perceive the reality around you. You are able to perceive that you yourself exist. Now this comes from, it doesn't come from anything other than your consciousness. Now the scientists call this the hard problem of consciousness. That means they cannot fathom what it is. Because you see, science is limited in its ability to understand things which are metaphysical. Physical, yes, they'll tell you how, they'll explain things, how things come into being. But what they are not good at is something that they cannot observe, cannot simulate, cannot measure. Yes, and these things are consciousness. And within consciousness, there are things like your, for example, your emotions. We say it's a soul. Yes, as people of religion who believe in theology, we use the term soul. So your soul, everything is intrinsic to this. Your emotions, your ability to think, your intellect, your consciousness, all this. All this is within. And none of this, for example, if you ask a scientist, whom do you love more, your girlfriend or your mother? They won't be able to measure that, will they? Neither can they say, oh, you love them equally, because your love for your mom is different to that of your spouse or your girlfriend or whatever it is, yeah? Now, the reason I'm mentioning this metaphysical thing is to highlight the fact that science has limitations. What are its limitations? It can only observe and measure things which are material. We call it this naturalistic belief. It's kind of a belief, yes. There are certain things that you have to believe, even though it might be like, for example, what happened, when did time originate and all these things, yeah? They say it happened at the Big Bang. Beyond that, we don't know what it is. So sometimes they speculate, yes? Sorry, before the Big Bang, something about blank time. I don't want to go into those details. But they know that it had a beginning at some point. There was a point, they call it the singularity, at which this time began to exist, space began to exist, and then Big Bang came into, basically happened, and so on. So you see, these limitations of science, trying to decipher the metaphysical, is beyond its scope. Because if you cannot observe something, you cannot postulate anything. You cannot have any sort of hypothesis or any models or anything. And there are two other things which are very important in science. Without that, science is handicapped: time and space. So you see, beyond the Big Bang, beyond the Planck time, they cannot fathom what happened before that. Yes, because they don't have these two key factors, space and time. And without knowing these two, they cannot have any sort of formulas or hypotheses or theories or whatever.
Did time exist before?
We believe, yes, we believe, because you see, God, we believe that God himself created both time and space, in the sense that it is something which is in his control. Yes? Now, the reason I'm bringing you back to God is because that is where we enter the metaphysical realm, which science has no scope, no way. Basically, there's a boundary between them and the metaphysical. And all these things, things within yourself, they cannot observe. Things within themselves, like consciousness, they cannot tell you what it is. Let alone in the cosmos, which is very far away. You see what I mean? So, if they cannot even tell you and determine what actually, the very factors, the very, tools that they use in order to understand and discover and invent things, their intellect, they don't know where that came from. They don't know where it is from. You see what I mean? So we go back, they will have to somehow concede that they don't know, or they'll have to now go into a realm and scope which is beyond their, their boundaries. They will have to do that in order to understand it. You see, in order for one to recognize the consciousness, you need to have consciousness in the first place.
Absolutely.
You see what I mean?
We understand.
That's why it's such a hard problem for them, because they cannot even fathom the thing which tells them that they exist and this reality exists. You see, it is not your mind, it is not the flesh of your brain, yes, or the neurons within that, which are all material, by the way. It is what is beyond that even. It is your very self that keeps you alive, that keeps you ticking, which keeps your intellect and your thoughts intact, your ability to even dream when you're sleeping. Yes? You might be in very deep sleep, but you're still functioning. You see what I mean? All these things are, like I said, beyond the scope. So now we come to God. So God Almighty, like I said, everything, not God Almighty, the universe, anything that begins to exist must have a cause. So you know the principle of cause and effect, that doesn't apply to God Almighty. Because God, by definition, is eternal. He's uncreated, uncaused. He's intelligent, obviously, because what we see around us is of intelligent design. Yes, everything that you see has a purpose. From a mosquito to the greatest galaxies.
Super intelligent.
Absolutely, yes. And you see everything is more or less, it's not in chaos, it's in harmony. If you look at the cosmos, or if you look at the smallest atom, yes, you see the similarity between the solar system and the atoms. Yes, so you got the nucleus and the electrons and the neutrons rotating around it. Look at the sun and the planets rotating. So you got the what do you say? Something which is micro, like the atom, and something that is macro, which is very big and large, like the solar system, and even beyond that. So if you look at the solar system and you look at the galaxies, which has hundreds and thousands of solar systems, and you look at the galaxy which has hundreds and thousands of stars, yes, and there are hundreds and thousands of galaxies out there, and some stars are tens of thousands times bigger than the sun itself. I mean, it's mind-boggling, you know. Where did all this come from? No one in their right mind should admit that it came from nothing. Because it's impossible, inconceivable for all this to come from nothing.
Sorry, can you explain? Sorry, you said it came from nothing.
Yeah.
Can you explain what nothing is?
I never said it came from nothing.
You just said it came
No, I
from
didn't.
nothing.
I said can it was a question. Do you
Okay, so what was before?
wait.
Well, yeah, that's
Before you misinterpret what I said anyone who says that it came from nothing should really think again. Okay?
So what was before the universe?
Like I said, if you want to talk, come in front. Don't shout in my ear.
Before the universe, sorry.
What's that?
What was before the universe?
What was before the universe? Okay. Do you believe in God?
No, ask your question. You're asking a
I need to know. I need to know from which angle you're coming.
I don't wish to answer that. Ask
Okay,
your
I want to
question.
talk to him if you don't want to answer my question.
If you
So
can't
bring back
answer
to
that question,
wow, you won.
You're running away.
You won. Get a trophy from there.
But you're running away.
Go on. Okay, so now basically at least you were answering my questions. It was a fair discussion, a dialogue, okay? We already discussed what you discussed. Go and watch it on the channel.
You haven't. You're
Not to
running
you,
away.
I watched
You're running
it.
away.
Do you see me running away?
You're not running away from the
What
question.
language are we speaking?
No, from the question. You're running away from the question. What is nothing?
I don't want to talk to you.
Explain it.
Anyway, you seem like
tell me where
an
you're coming
arrogant
from.
person.
Okay.
Have I answered your question already?
The biggest question is there a God? So the first biggest question
Like I said, I don't want to...
Tell him where you're coming from.
Let me go back to you because I want to finish the discussion with you. Okay,
It's
so
a fallacy.
with regards to what he's asking, we have already discussed. You agree? So if he wants to go and watch the channels, it's up to him. Now, what I want to ask you is that if all the universe, which has a purpose, which has a meaning, yes, if it came into existence, and we know it didn't come from nothing, where did it come from? That's the question. Because everything that begins to exist has a cause. Cause, what you see the universe is an effect. So what was the cause that caused this?
Does God have a cause?
So this is the thing I don't know.
We don't know.
I know you're going to say, well, it's got to go straight.
No, that's fine. In fact, to say I don't know is humble. And it's good.
I don't disagree with you. You know, I don't really agree with science. I don't believe in the Big Bang.
Why not?
Just for the sake to go bang and then all of a sudden life to appear.
It wasn't all of a sudden. It took billions of years.
Well, billions of years.
Yeah,
But for it all to come together and then.
So for life itself to form, according to them, it took billions of years.
I guess there must be some kind of life form to make life form.
Exactly. That is where we come into intelligent design.
Yeah.
You see, there must be someone who has designed all this, who has planned all this, and who is sustaining all of this existence.
I definitely believe that's a more, 100% more likely.
Okay, look, if you don't want to call that being God, you can call it intelligent design if you want. That's fine with me.
And also, even if I went over to kind of religious where I saw pray to God, I wouldn't be a religion.
By the way, just because you use the term religion, it doesn't mean we discount science. Many of the things that I just told you are basically from the scientific background, like for example, the principle of cause and effect is a very scientific method. Things like all these things come into existence from nothing is not scientific. You see,
the way I look at religion is it's obviously a cult, right?
sorry, it is
The dictionary definition is cult.
it's not a cult. Because a cult is very different. A cult is where you just follow blindly a leader. It's not like that in religion. You see, in the Quran, Allah tells us.
The Christian religion.
Yeah, I know that's your background, so maybe you're using.
Sorry, Christian.
Please do not judge all religions based on your background.
No. I've looked at all the religions, and like I said at the beginning, the one that makes the most sense is Islam.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, without a doubt.
That's why you see, look, what is important is the fact that you have looked into it. You have an open mind and you researched it.
I haven't read all the books.
That's fine. That's fine. You know, there is something we call the fitrah, which is a natural disposition. So, for a human being, we are programmed to know this intelligent design, this designer, this being who we call God.
Yeah.
We know that there is something greater out there, which is the cause of all this. The cause of life, the cause of the universe, the cause of everything that you know, yes, which we call the creation of God. What you have, you employing that faculty of yours called the fitrah. By that you said that makes sense. Because you see, what doesn't make sense is for an atheist to assert that it came from nothing. Because an atheist who makes that assertion doesn't know what nothing means.
I think I used to call myself an atheist, and then I realised, you know what? I don't not believe in a God. I don't not believe in that. I'm still just completely open-minded.
You're on the fence. You're on the fence.
Yeah. I'm not. You know.
But I don't think you should be.
Fence, but
you should make up your mind at some point.
I kind of make my own things up as well. Like, you know, our souls all come together, and we are gods.
Absolutely. I mean, look.
I know a lot of people.
If you look at every organ of yours,
every theory's nuts in a way, isn't it?
Remember, I told you earlier. There are many things that the scientists cannot solve, which is within themselves, like consciousness. They won't be able to tell you where it came from. You see, so any atheist, doesn't matter how knowledgeable he or she is, they will not be able to decipher what consciousness is. The reason is that because it's beyond the scope. It is something which is immaterial. So from a naturalistic perspective, it is very difficult for them to fathom something which is immaterial. So what I'm saying is that if you look at everything within yourself, not only consciousness, look at your eyes, look at your heart, look at the organs within your body. They all function as a unit, as one system. Sorry, not a unit, as one system. And this system ticks along without anyone exerting any sort of power or energy that we see. You see what I mean? So if a scientist or mechanic builds any machinery, they'll have to maintain it. Yes? And it has a period of expiry when it basically dies down. Similarly, we do have expiry dates as well. So whether you're atheist, agnostic, a believer in God, there is one fact no one can deny, that everyone is going to die. No one can deny that. Whether you're a believer in God or disbeliever, regardless. This is one fact everyone has to agree. So the question to you, sorry, I didn't catch your name. Mark, I'm Hashim, by the way. Very nice talking to you. So Mark, have you ever thought about what happens to you after you die?
I mean, everyone thinks about that sometimes, don't they?
So what did you conclude from your analysis or your thinking?
One idea is that another thing about like us all being sort of God and when we come together is maybe
all of us being one?
You know, all of humanity, when our souls sort of come together, we are gods kind of thing.
No, we are not.
Well, it's kind of, no, this is just my own kind of idea.
I'm surprised an agnostic person believes
like this. Like so all our souls, there's God in us all. I kind of sort of believe as well. I kind of believe that maybe all animal life, you know, maybe everything. But I don't know.
Have you been looking into Buddhism as well?
No, I just do a general focus on everything. I get as much
because you know that is one of the things that the Muslims don't believe. We don't believe that any creation, whether it is human in flesh or as a soul, will become God one day. No. God is not the creation. That is a clear distinction between the two.
God's complete.
So one is a creator, God Almighty, and everyone else is a creation.
But to me, obviously, I'm just smart.
Yeah, very.
And I thought about it, and I thought, well, maybe we're all God. Maybe this. Like.
So you think when you die, the souls are going to unite somehow?
I think that when we die, maybe I don't really actually believe it, but it's one of my kind of ideas.
Fair enough.
Maybe we come back to Earth,
Okay.
and Earth is heaven and hell, and at the moment it's hell because us lot keep just allowing the banking scum to rule us and keep us in hell. And one day, eventually, we'll come back where hopefully we'll all get together, which hopefully we're kind of doing now with Speaks Corner. I think more and more people are waking up to the real world and, all the lies that, we've just been fed through propaganda media.
I understand where you're coming from. So trust me.
So maybe we come back.
If you knew anything about hell,
maybe we keep
this wouldn't be. If this is hell, then you don't know the real hell.
No, obviously.
But by the way, you're right. Life can be quite difficult.
Yeah.
Some people can go through hell, like the saying goes. However, we believe that life after death, there is a life after death. So once you breathe your last, that is not the end of it. In fact, that is the beginning of the end. Oh, sorry, there won't be an end. But that is the beginning of the new life. In other words, there'll be a day of judgment. And do you know why the people who believe in God emphasize on the term judgment? Because you see, in this life, there are many people, like you said, or you alluded to, go through hell. Yes, you're right. So people who were gassed by Hitler, they went through hell.
I don't believe it.
Well, that's a different thing. But what I meant is, there are people who are oppressing.
Just to be clear, 1917 Balfour Declaration says to me that somebody knew that Jews from Europe would happily leave Europe and run to a country that's not there at the moment. So,
okay, we're going into a different topic now. What I'm saying is that there are people who oppress, and there are people who are oppressed. So on the day of judgment, the ones who are oppressing, who might have got away freely in this world, because there are many drug lords out there, and they live a very comfortable life. They might have big villas with swimming pools and lots of people serving them. Yes, and one day they die, and those people who are their victims, that means those children and the men and the women who might have fallen victim to their oppression, or maybe their product, the drugs that they have taken, whatever it is, yes, they are the ones who will be suffering all throughout their life. But that man who was basically the don, who was the one who's the one in charge of the business of drugs, the drug dealer, yes? What they call them, the kingpins. Yeah, maybe. I don't think he's that big a kingpin.
Emira, this is where
For years they said it's impossible.